It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Friday, July 12th. We have made it to the end of another long, beautiful, amazing, wonderful, incredible, phenomenal week in July. We have a lot to cover today. We finally got to see the first episode of Real Housewives of OC, and it was Love Island had such an emotional, incredible episode. We'll be talking about that. Summer House is out partying. Kim and Croy are still in the news, and so much more on today's Say It With Me Daily Dose of Donna. At what point is it not appropriate for a business to get involved in Real Housewives? Yep, the Quiet Woman, the restaurant that, in my opinion, Shannon Bedore put on the map. It's not my plate. It's not my fucking plate. Has now posted about the Quiet Woman. The Quiet Woman has now posted about Real Housewives of OC. And yes, they are Team Alexis. And my first guess why that would be, it's probably because Alexis and John provide a lot of financial stability for the restaurant with their drinking. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. I hope everyone's doing well today. Are you guys so happy? Are you guys feeling good? Are you guys happy it's Friday? Do you have any big plans for the mid-July heat wave weekend? How's everyone doing? All right, let's get into some stories because there's always stories. Thank God. Let's first start on today talking about Southern Charm. So, Southern Charm is coming back very soon. I know that they finished filming, so they're in editing right now. I want to say it's probably going to come back like what? September-ish? And on this upcoming season, as you guys probably remember, Olivia Flowers, who was the Austin's ex-girlfriend and a little bit love triangle between Taylor and Shep, I guess love square, Taylor and Shep and Olivia and Austin. All these people, I can't even keep them straight. They are, she wasn't asked back for this next season of Southern Charm. And if you watched Daily Dose of Donna or listened to DDOD back in 23, you'll remember I was not a huge Olivia fan. It's not that I don't like her. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people thought I was crazy for understanding a little bit of where Taylor was coming from. But it's not that I didn't like her. I just found her to be the TV equivalent of, let's think. Travis on Real Housewives of OC. Like Olivia Flowers and Travis are the same in terms of interest level. Some people just don't have it. And by it, I mean personality, charisma. They're kind of boring. Olivia Flowers, to me, on Southern Charm, even though she was enmeshed in one of the bigger stories, is boring. She's not interesting to watch. She doesn't have a lot of cadence in her voice, like in a lot of tonation, or what's the word? Like range in her voice. She speaks very monotone. She doesn't really get very emotional, even though really horrible things are happening to her. And that's just not interesting for a TV show. Like her or don't like her, at least Taylor put it all out there, right? We were getting tears, we were getting anger, we were getting fights, we were getting all that. And she just doesn't have it. And so I think Southern Charm let her go. Oh, okay. So officially she is now on Sheena's podcast announced that confirms that she is super bummed that she's no longer going to be on season 10 of Southern Charm. She's disappointed and confirmed her firing on Shenanigans with Sheena Shea, the podcast, admitting her exit was not her choice and she was thrown off. She said that she was doing all kinds of things like living her life, right? She was spending time with her boyfriend. She was kind of going back and forth into Texas. I guess her parents moved to Texas and they tried to kind of play it off that, it looks like you're living your life. It looks like you're happy. It looks like you're, you've chosen another path. And she's like, I wasn't choosing a new path. I just was living my life. But the truth is, that's not the reason that they fired her. They fired her because she was boring, right? She was boring. And so I'm okay with her not being on the show. So many people in Sheena's comments were like, justice for Olivia. She was the main story character. She was this was insane. Da, da, da. I do not feel sad whatsoever. In fact, I found her to be quite like hard to watch. To lose your brother on a TV show is so devastating, but I never was even able to like feel vulnerable with her. Like she just has a little bit of a wall up. There's something going on there. Michelle says Olivia was living in Los Angeles when she was cast on Southern Charm, which is actually quite interesting. I've heard this about a couple other people, I'm trying to remember who I heard this about. Remember Jessel Tank on Roni was living in like Dallas? I mean, this happens, I think, probably on a variety of shows where you find out that you're going to be on a reality show, or could you be potentially on a reality show in a different city? You uproot your life and you get your ass over there if that means something to you. So, anyway, I'm glad that she's no longer on the show. I actually can't wait for Southern Charm this new season. I know it's going to be good. I'm sure it's going to be good. I don't know. I mean, of course, we've still got Craig, Austin, and Shep, the messiest of the messy. We have not Craig, obviously. He's like less messy. He's lessy. But Austin and Shep. And then of course we have JT, who is wild. Remember the shorter dude that like went to Austin and was like, get in my face. And then we have that other friend, not Rod. That was Olivia's boyfriend, Rod. There was another guy who was like one of their like gay besties, and I cannot remember what his name is for the life on me. Ooh, apparently there was producers drama on Southern Charm with Jeremiah. So is Jeremiah also a producer on Southern Charm and VPR? I can just tell you that Southern Hospitality, I'll talk more about this, I think, on Patreon, but Southern Hospitality is going to be so good. Just know that. And I know a lot of Soho fans are here because remember last season, we finally started watching Southern Hospitality and we were like, this is the show. This is the show to watch. And think about how many people are just cheating at Leva's bars. Remember when Leva said straight up on one of the reunions that her bars are the places that like her main bar, I think it's called Republic, where all the people work and it's like crazy. She's like, that's where you bring your friends and your party. And then the other bar that she owns, is it called Lamar's, like her husband's name? I can't remember. That's where there was that video of Kyle Cook and the other girl. And they said that bar is where you bring your mistress. And she straight up said on a reunion a few years ago that she will never, like, that's the one thing that she'll never do is she'll never out people for cheating at her bar and at her restaurant. So when you own a bar or a restaurant that is known for a place that you bring your mistresses to, what married man will ever want to go there? What woman is checking their husband's location, Sheena, checking their husband's location and being like, oh my God, you're at the place where Leva says everyone takes their mistresses to. That's cool. Have fun. Bye. So we'll have to see what happens over there in Charleston. I am looking forward to it. There is no question. It looks amazing. Okay. Shall we move on? Let's move on. The next story is about KZB, Kim Zolciak Biermann. We just can't quit her. We cannot quit her, and I want to quit her, but we can't because she keeps showing up in the damn news. This one is more positive, I would say, in the fact that she looks to have an upcoming trial, a divorce trial, which is going to hopefully move them closer to divorce between her and her estranged husband, Croy. This is for November. They're slated to go to divorce trial later this year in November amid the pair's ugly split. They've been embroiled in a messy divorce with the former NFL linebacker, 38, after they initially filed last year. TMZ obtained documents that revealed that the divorce trial is scheduled for November 5th through 6th at Atlanta's Fulton County, Superior County. So who here in the audience lives in Atlanta and will take one for the team? What are you doing on November 5th? You're going to court. And I want some boots on the ground. I want you in the courtroom with a pad of paper. I want sketches. Okay. I want it all. I did spend some time last night watching yesterday's trial. Let's talk about a little bit about Alec Baldwin in just a second. Okay. Anyway, if a resolution cannot be worked out before September 25th, they will proceed to the trial in November. If they do come up with some sort of resolution before then, I guess they do not need trial. But for some reason, for some crazy reason, my gut is saying that they're definitely going to move to trial. Like, I just can't imagine that these two actually figure it out, right? Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about that Alec Baldwin trial. So I love Emily D. Baker. As you guys know, we've talked about this before. I think she's so genius, so smart. And I am actually in shock at her numbers. Like, people are so invested in these live trials. In fact, I think my live numbers this week have been a little bit lower because I think so many of my viewers are also so invested in this trial and are watching live. So what she does, she's amazing. What she does is she live streams her trials or the trials that she covers, like the Karen Reed trial, Alec Baldwin, the Russ trials, whatever. And she'll live stream for hours. And there will be 30, 40,000 people during her live streams just watching because she gives this amazing commentary. And I watched for like an hour of yesterday's trial in the evening. I watched it with Lance because we were talking about all this crazy stuff that the crime scene investigator found. But one of the most kind of shocking pieces of news that I heard yesterday, and I'm sure more will come out, as the day goes on. But what I could not believe was the news about Jensen Ackles. And for those of you that don't know, Jensen Ackles was like a big CW actor. He was on Supernatural and a bunch of different shows. And he was in the movie. He was also starring in the movie Rust, that this all took place, in whatever, this horrible crime or this horrible murder, I should say. Death. I don't even know what to call it. I mean, it's awful. So, what was found yesterday, which was so shocking to me, was the fact that Jensen Ackles was also carrying ammunition or like prop guns, holsters, etc. Because it's a Western. And he filmed a scene right before they took that lunch break, right before the scene in the church where Helena Hutchins was shot. So he was not actually in this scene, but he was in the scene earlier in the morning. Later, when the crime scene investigator went on set to go through all the prop department and go through everything, they found live rounds of ammunition and bullets in Jensen Ackles' holster as well. And remember, this is a Western where everyone is shooting and everyone's got these guns. And they found multiple live bullets amongst dummy bullets throughout the set on different people's, like on Jensen's prop gun, on Alec's gun, obviously, and then even in the prop house. And they showed these pictures of the difference between the dummies and the live bullets. And like, I am not someone that's ever seen a bullet in real life. Like, I've never gone shooting or anything. It's shocking how similar they look, right? There's like a bronze one in the middle, and then there's a nickel in the middle. Like, the difference is in a live bullet versus a dummy bullet is really just a different metal, it looks like, in the middle of the bullet. So it's very easy to just like kind of not notice if you're not looking for it. The fact that not only one person was killed, but multiple people were not killed is actually a miracle. Like, I have no idea how in the world this happened. But it just goes to show that Alec Baldwin, in my opinion, and I don't know if Emily D. Baker is giving her actual opinion, so you guys let me know. And there's obviously a lot of nuance here about him being, a producer, but they released that as part of the case. So he's being tried as just the person that actually pulled the trigger. When you're in a career, when you're in a job, you trust the people around you for the most part. You should, right? So just say you go to work at a restaurant at In-N-Out and you're working the fryer and you're doing the fries. What's up, Vicente? Okay. If you are doing that, you are trusting from doing your training, from your safety manuals, and from the managers and the people that are working the machines and stuff around you, that the fryer is set to the right temperature, that the fryer is not going to combust and shoot and blow up, that it's not going to spark up crazy hot oil and burn you. You know things are working in a certain way because you trust the things around you at your job. Alec Baldwin, from what I know, was given a gun that had a live bullet in it that he had no idea. Why would he ever check to see if there's a live bullet in his rounds? Like, that's just not something you do on a set. It's like going and getting you know how they give you like prop alcohol, right? Like wine. It's like grape juice, right? So it's like an alcoholic who can't drink gets a glass of grape juice on the set because they're supposed to be drinking. I don't think that you think that they're out there putting alcohol in your drink. You don't think that way. You trust your crew. And this was the biggest problem, is that he trusted his crew, in my opinion. And I do not think he should be responsible for the death of her, but I understand why someone needs to be held responsible, but it really should come down to her. 100% in my opinion. Michelle says, no, he should be making sure that all the ammunition on set is blank and not live because he was actively running the set and issuing orders to everyone on the set. There's a 2020 episode that covered this whole thing. Okay. I need to watch that because I need to know how active he was in actually looking at each individual bullet. This is a this is why you hire an armorer. If you're a producer that puts your fingers in everything that much, meaning you're going to craft services and you're checking that each product doesn't have nuts in it, like specifically, no, you hire people and you delegate certain positions. That to me feels what makes the most sense. Like you delegate. I don't know, you guys. Just say there's like a stunt, right? If there's a stunt that's gone wrong and someone, God forbid, injures themselves and dies. Wasn't there like a case where something happened like on a train track a few years ago on a case, whatever? It's so tough because at the end of the day, like there are so many department heads on productions because you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of people that work on certain projects. There is no way any producer, Alec or no one, can be that specifically like going through every single bullet. That's like micromanaging. You don't do that on sets. You can't. That's like going to the wardrobe person and making sure that and telling them every outfit needs to be cotton, but then going after you tell them that, going and checking every single piece of fabric with your own eyes and spending hours and hours. It's crazy. Like that doesn't happen. So anyway, I don't know. It's really, really tough. It feels like a real stretch to make him fully responsible. Yes. Was he involved? Absolutely. But I don't think he should be held responsible for the murder of this woman, of Helena Hutchins. It's so sad. The whole thing is so sad considering the fact that she was a woman, a mom, a wife. She has family. It's just horrible. In general, I think it was the armor, it was the prop house, it was everyone involved with that. Okay, let's move on. And obviously, we're only on like what day 3 of the trials, so this is probably going to go on for a little bit. Okay, Summer House. Yesterday, just as I suspected, we're going to be seeing so much of this, and this is giving Vanderpump Rules. I'm just saying, and I'm not loving it. But yesterday, we saw this clip of all these different people on oh my God, Vicente, you guys, no joke. Vicente, my gardener, just like stood at my window and just like looked in. And I wasn't sure if this was the moment that he wanted to guest star on Daily Dose of Donna, or maybe this was like he wanted to ask me a question about like the grass or something. But I didn't know what to do. I felt trapped. I was like, am I going to bring Vicente in so you guys can meet him finally for the first time? Should I? Should we bring Vicente to guest star on Daily Dose of Donna after a year and a half of talking about him? Okay. Um, if he comes back, I doubt he'll come back. He just looked in and he saw me going like this with like the heavy lights on me. He's probably like, "What the hell is she doing? Is that an OnlyFans account?" Um, okay. I got like sweaty. Vicente wants to trim the wallpaper, Mark says. He wants his payment, Andrew. Don't worry. I zell him. He's good. He's good. Actually just asked him before I started the show because I saw him outside and I was like, "You got your payment, right? You're good." I promise you I'm paying my gardener. Okay. So, Summer House. I worry about this because Summer House is it's a show that has done phenomenal in previous seasons to not let us know shit. We don't know anything. Either we didn't care as much about the show until this season, or they were just really good at kind of hiding it. We never really saw them out and about. Yeah, you would see them once in a while, but not as a crew together, out with paparazzi and people taking photos of them. But now it's like VPR because they went yesterday to celebrate. Well, I thought it was for Lindsay. That was my original thought because when I saw the pictures and the videos, Lindsay is out there and she's holding a congrats Lindsay like banner and she's rubbing her belly, which by the way, how many times can this girl rub her belly that we've seen her already 2 times? And it's funny because she only has like a 4.5, 5 month pregnant belly and she's rubbing like crazy. It's not like it's this big. It's a little wild. So okay. So Lindsay has been out and about with her summer house castmates and what this was called the Endless Summer Kickoff Bash at the Magic Hour Rooftop Bar and Lounge in New York City. That's a mouthful. Kyle Cook, DJ extraordinaire, DJ'd the event, while a pregnant Lindsay Hubbard, who recently announced she's expecting, danced the night away with "What Would Jesse Solomon Do?" and Gabby. Amanda Batula was also there behind the DJ booth while friends Paige DeSorbo and Sierra posed for photos with the bar's decor. Carl was also in attendance and shared a laugh with Solomon and West. And do you guys want to see the photos? Should we look at them together? I think for me personally, I would say I'm happy for her and I'm happy that Carl was there. And it seems to me like Carl has no qualms or sadness about this. I don't think Carl is going to be sad about the fact that she's moved on and pregnant at all. At all. I think he's going to be fine. So here is Lindsay making a face that I can't handle. If you guys know me, I can't do the tongue out in pictures. It's shocking to me. You're pregnant. Let's pull your tongue back in. As you can see, Amanda and Paige are back here, and there's Jesse and there's Kyle. Let's keep going. Again, Lindsay, Lindsay. She's like, "It's about me." She's probably living her best life. Here's the girls talking smack, but Lindsay's part of it. It's Amanda, Sierra, and Gabby and Lindsay. And I wonder if Danielle is like dying that she's not there. Here's Paige and Sierra. Paige always looks flawless in these pictures. So does Sierra. Come on, these two. By the way, I'm always thinking about like what they're really thinking while they're there. Do you think that Sierra and Paige are like, how do we get out of here? Can we go? I don't want to be here. Jesse Solomon, from what I saw, I did see some footage of him with a mic. And guys, I'm going to say something that's real bad. But I think Jesse Solomon is entering his ick factor. his ick era. I worry about this. I feel like he is so, like, obsessed with himself, and I've seen now a few different things. Like, he was on this Instagram video yesterday where he was doing this, like, it was like a what's it called? Matchmaking situation where there was a girl between them, and she was asking him questions and her questions, and then the end was like, "Do you think that I can hook you guys up on a date?" And everyone just turned it around, and, the girl said yes, and Jesse said no, and there was something about it that gave me the ick. And I've heard that he came off real douchey on 2 T's in a Pod. I didn't listen to it, but I did hear that. So, I pray that Jesse Solomon has not jumped the shark, but, you know, there's Lindsay and Gabby looking cute. Here is Jesse. Look at Carl. Carl's living it up. He's having fun. Teeth galore. This is actually a cute picture. The 3 of them are really enjoying their lives, but you know what I can't help but think? These 3 have to drink Loverboy all the time. And let me tell you something. That is not an easy feat. Loverboy tastes like shit. Truthfully, it's not a I can't imagine what like drinking a non-alcoholic Loverboy, because I think the only reason to go through that flavor is maybe to get a little buzz. But to drink that and not even get drunk feels like, why not just order a lemonade? I mean, it's wild. But Carl looks happy, which is good. Oh, here's the boys being boys, guys. We're the boys. It's Jesse and Carl, who really could be brothers, and then their little pipsqueak Kyle next to them. And Wes looks douchey too. Wes does look a little bit like too cool for school. And there's no pictures of him alone with Sierra, so I don't think there's anything going on there. Let's see. I want to find Amanda. Oh my God. Can you imagine this is your husband? He's wearing Taylor Swift bracelets. He is DJing. I mean, I still can't believe that Amanda is with this man. I can't. After everything. There's no pictures of Amanda in this crew. This guy is living. Look at this. Look at how many people are taking pictures of him and are obsessed with him. He's so obsessed with himself. Look at this. He loves his life so much. Now, I would say Kyle Cook is, I don't know what is going on with me and Kyle Cook, but like I really can't. I can't with him. He lost me this last season so big time. And then after the reunion and him getting off skate free really lost me. And then to see that Amanda's still there while he's DJing on top of everything else, and she's just like, maybe she's happy. Maybe she feels like, he's out of the house more. I don't know. It's not for me. But Lindsay is living her life. Can't wait to see it. Someone DM'd me last night saying, let's play a drinking game every single time Lindsay rubs her belly. And it's basically the same drinking game in terms of like amount of alcohol you're going to drink. It's going to be neck and neck with how many times Kayla from Love Island cries. We're going to be like, alcohol poisoning is coming. So make sure to drink your non-alcoholic Loverboy for this drinking game. Just make sure. Or you'll be very hydrated if you just stick with like a Gatorade. All right. We've got to get into last night's TV. And before we do that, I want to shout out this week's sponsor of Daily Dose of Donna, and that is BetterHelp.com. As you know, comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives. It might look like they have it all together on the Instagram, but in reality, they don't. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can also start living your best life. Therapy is such an incredible addition to everyone's life. I think I need to actually book myself a therapy session because I'm feeling a lot of bottled in emotions these last couple weeks. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing. Comparing. I can't say that word. Stop Comparing. I just compare myself to all the people that can say comparing. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Donna today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Donna. Okay. Let's start with OC, yeah? I want to know in the comments, what did you think of Real Housewives of OC premiere episode? I thought it was a perfect entrance back into Southern California, Real Housewives. That's what I want to see. I want to see a little bit of mess. I want to see a little bit of gossip. I want to see a little bit of Malibu rum and Diet Pepsi. I actually really liked the episode in general. Couple thoughts. So first of all, let's talk about Heather Dubrow and their homes. I'm so confused here. They sold their Crystal Cove house for like 60 some million dollars, right? Then they bought that huge penthouse in the Wilshire corridor here in Beverly Hills, like Wilshire, West LA area. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. That would be my hell. I don't know. I think the only reason to live in a high rise is if you live in like a big city, like a New York City. But I can't imagine living here in LA in a high rise. Like that just sounds literally like my hell. I think the reason you choose California is for the space and like the outdoor. But okay, so they bought this huge penthouse, and then now they're saying that there's only 2 bedrooms in that penthouse, so they need to move into a house that has more space, which would mean, a house, a house. So they chose this Beverly Hills house that they bought for, what was it, like $16 million? She says it's so like, okay, whatever, $16 million, like nothing. It's wild. Now, they're redoing that house. The numbers that they're throwing around, I mean, this is the kind of shit that we actually want from Real Housewives. We want like this extravagant wealth. I need to turn on the air. You guys, it's so warm in here. Tell me if it gets too loud or you guys can hear it. They're throwing around numbers like I've never heard. Oh, so what's that going to cost? Okay, so that's going to be 2 million. Okay, so add 1 million. So how much is it going to be? So it's going to be about 12 million to redo the house. Okay, cool. What in the world? I could not believe how much money they were talking about. It is wild. Obviously, so we realize again that Heather is very rich. That's one thing. And she decides that in another house that they have at the Balboa Bay Club, which is like a Newport Beach area, they're going to have a party. Of course, Heather has to have the party. She has to set us up for the later drama that we're going to get for this big, espresso martini party or whatever it is. We have a scene between Shannon and her daughters. And there's something about these problematic women, Shannon and Teresa, with their daughters, that are it's actually so sweet to watch. Shannon's daughters, although some of them definitely have a little bit more of an uppity, too good for school vibe, they seem like really good girls, especially the oldest one. I know that the youngest 2 are twins, and then there's an older one. The older one seems like very maternal and sweet and loving. The younger ones are a little more bratty, but they're there for her and they really care about her. And now I'm just remembering, what was their song? Remember they had a band. Shannon's daughters were in a full band, and they had a song that was so, what I would do to come up with the name of that song in this moment. But it was, they've actually grown up, considering everything that they've gone through, to be pretty good. Don't you think? So she has a conversation with them. This is 5 months after the actual DUI. And she's talking to them about it. And she's saying how embarrassed she is and how sad she is and how, how much she feels so bad about everything. And it's, it's very hard for her to kind of move forward. She feels embarrassed, understandably. Then, of course, we have the gym scene between Tamra, Jen Pedranti, and Emily's there too. And this is tough for me to watch because clearly Tamra can't stand Shannon. And she's truly dream catcher. Ladies of Rock, Was the song called Dreamcatcher? Dreamcatcher. I'm gonna remake it. It will be my new theme song. Tamara clearly has a bone to pick with Shannon. She's very mad at her. And I struggle with this because I can see why you're annoyed with her. I can see why you're mad at her. But it really is kicking her when she's already down. And it made me feel really bad how much she was so mean to Shannon. And the reasoning behind it is like we were doing Tres Amigas and the show is about not drinking. And meanwhile, here she is. I mean, the show is about drinking, and she said, I won't drink. But the whole show is about drinking, which is uncomfortable at all. Totally. And she's telling everyone she's drinking Coke or Diet Cokes, but she's pouring vodka into her drinks. And that to me is really, I don't know. It was mean. It felt mean, and I didn't like it. We also then kind of, like, discuss the Alexis Bellino situation, which we'll, of course, have to see Jesus Jugs later, and I'll just say, if I could rate likability on any of these girls, Jesus Jugs gets, like, an F. She's so unlikable. I don't know if you feel it too. Her likability factor is so low. I just find her to be so, like, so just unlikable. I didn't like her when she was on the show the first time around. And she's not like you would think she'd be a little bit more humble and kind coming on, but she's just not. We have a scene, of course, between Gina and Emily at Emily's house. Emily's redoing her house. She looks great and she's, taking care of Gina. And here's where we first find out from Gina about all the drama between Travias. Travias. This is something I cannot wrap my head around. Please explain to me. Gina and Travias live together in a shoebox. Remember, they had the bunk beds with 14 beds in each room. It was giving like Duggars. It was giving sleepaway camp. It wasn't a good vibe. Then what happened was now I guess Gina's saying, my kids are getting older. I have a good relationship with my ex, but Travias doesn't. All our kids are feeling like they need more space. We can't afford a house together. So what we should do is we should move in. We should separate and move out. And now, um, you know, basically stay together, but separate. Nothing made sense to me. I'm the only one that really sees, maybe I'm not the only one. I think Emily sees it too. That she no happy. She wants out of that relationship. She's sad. She feels like she is connected to him, but to me, she's just as bored as we are, is the truth. Travis, remember what his name is on the show. It's Paint Dry Travis. He's so boring. He doesn't bring anything to the table. I think he brings negativity, and it sounds to me like a lot of baggage. So it would make sense that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. We'll have to see. Meanwhile, Gina's getting all these listings and Travias is just not helping. Now, I wonder who this ex-wife is. Would you die if you were divorced from someone or going through a divorce from a man? And meanwhile, he's now on Real Housewives because he's dating one of the housewives. And she goes on the interview or in the confessional and says, this woman is just a nightmare. I would be like, what? No. Okay. Um, Later on, we have the Jen and Ryan scene, and they go to a restaurant where they order Malibu rums and Diet Pepsis. And that was the moment where I said, I can't with these two. Now, look, I've met them in life. I've told you guys this. I really like them as people. I actually think they're really nice. But obviously, we know that this whole fraud FBI situation is going to come out in a little bit during the season. So, like, we're seeing him with a watchful eye, right? And she's basically going through that she needs help about living. She can't pay her rent. She's struggling. And he's like, come and move in with me. And she's a little bit nervous about it. And so, I mean, honestly, that whole situation is just bad all around. I was most surprised by hearing that she only makes $50 per yoga class that she teaches at her own studio. I feel like that's not good. I feel like trainers make more than that. Not good, not good. We have a scene between Heather and Emily having, again, espresso martinis sponsored this episode. And this is when Jesus Jugs pulls up. And it's a little annoying because Heather and Jesus Jugs, I'm like surprised by this. Oh, we're friends. We're friends. But she introduces Emily to Jesus Jugs, and JJ comes in and she talks about her boyfriend, JJ. Jesus Jugs and John Jansen. What do we call them? You can't J cubed. No, a J4. What's to the fourth power? JJ and JJ. Or we can call Jesus Jugs Dirty John. JJDGJ. What a horrible couple. Sorry. The fact that she's like, I love my Johnny J. He's amazing. You're going to trust a drunk about Shannon? Like, she came in ready to fight. She's been sitting at home hearing Dirty John constantly in her ear about how awful Shannon is, how awful Shannon is. And yes, did I think that that was a good relationship? Absolutely not. Do I think Shannon is a healthy person? No, not in the least. Do I think Dirty John is? No. The two of them are awful, right? They're awful together. But I can't trust Dirty John. So if you're going to come here and say, like, Shannon was lying about Dirty John, I don't believe that for a second. I don't know. There's something about Dirty John and Jesus Jugs that just rubs me the wrong way, like big time. So we had an interesting scene with Tamra and her daughter. And let me tell you, this was one that I was incredibly like thrown by. I have not seen a picture or a video of Sophia since she was a little girl. Tamra, as far as I know, does not post her ever. Like, I don't see her on social media. And she wasn't on the show until she was 18 because her dad, Simon, wasn't signing off on any of the kids being on the show. Her daughter shows up in the show, and I literally do a double take. I'm like, who is this girl? She looks nothing like Tamra. She looks nothing like Simon. She's very dark haired, like brunette. She's kind of like a little emo type. Like, my kids would kill me if they heard me use that word because, like, apparently it doesn't mean what it used to mean. I don't even know. And they go and get tattoos together, but she's not like, maybe she's uncomfortable on camera because she hasn't been on camera her whole life, but it felt so uncomfortable. It felt like she was getting paid by Tamara to be in the scene. She did not want to be in the scene. She wasn't showing any warmth. And Tamara was like, Sophia and I love each other so much. Sophia's this like wonderful, loving daughter. Sophia is so this, so that. And I'm like, I'm not seeing that at all. Like, my vibe is getting that Sophia hates her life right now. Like, she's literally miserable on the show. She's miserable with you, and she doesn't want to even hug. She doesn't even want to hug you. Like, Tamara starts to cry about the older daughter that she never sees, Sydney. And that is just a really sad story, by the way. I can't get over that Sydney just does not want to have a relationship with her mom. But when she's crying about it, Sophia's like, oh, okay, mom. Okay. Hugging her like that. And it was giving a little bit of Lindsay's hug towards Carl. And I was surprised Tamara didn't say, can you hug me harder? Can you just be harder? It was a little bit of an odd scene, not gonna lie. We had the Travis and Gina scene. I fell asleep. And then later on uh we had the scene where Gina introduces her new friend, Katie. She seems great, actually, this new friend. I don't know a lot about her, but I like her already. They go to Heather's party. Heather has 4,000 stations. It's giving like bat mitzvah. I don't even know. It's like bridal shower. I don't want activities at parties. I don't. The activity I want is food, drink, gossip, and maybe dance. Like, that's the activity I want. I do not want to like fill out wishing cards or whatever the hell they're doing. But they all start chatting and introducing themselves to each other. And then, of course, Jesus Jugs gets there, and so does Shannon. And this is very uncomfortable because Shannon has to, wants to kind of just get it out of the way and talk to Alexis. And so this is where things get a little bit tricky because Shannon takes Alexis outside and says, "Can we talk?" And she decides to tell Alexis that her issue with her falls because of this lawsuit. Now, what is this lawsuit? If you guys don't know what the lawsuit is, basically what happened was, how many years ago was this? I have to find the actual hold on. I have to find the actual date of this lawsuit. But um let me find it really fast. Okay. I don't have the year, but I know that Jim Bellino, who is Jesus Jug's ex, because remember, she's Alexis Bellino, sued Tamra and Shannon for defamation because they said on Heather McDonald's podcast, as far as I'm sure, and I think Heather got sued in that case too, didn't she? Because they said at Heather's live show that his trampoline parks business was defunct and they would not send their kids to them so they wouldn't get paralyzed. And he said that caused him to lose $1 million in business. Listen, I've never listened to the podcast. I have I mean, to that show. So I have no idea what they actually said. I'm sure it's scraped from the internet, but all these trampoline parks technically are danger zones for your kids. You know, when you sign a waiver to let your kids jump at Sky Zone or any of those, you sign their lives away, essentially. I do it for birthday parties, but I'm not happy about it. I don't like going to any of those places. But this is something that actually happens. So I don't know how in the world them saying that would have had him lose $1 million. So I don't necessarily believe that the lawsuit had merit, but it sounds to me like they all lost a lot of money. Um, I don't know how much Heather lost, but I know that Tamara lost $500,000 and Shannon lost $300,000. But Shannon is trying to have this conversation with Alexis and make it about the lawsuit. You were involved in the lawsuit. You sent me the cease and desist. But the reality is she doesn't like Alexis, or she feels weird around Alexis because Alexis is stooping Dirty John. And Dirty John was Shannon's like toxic lover. I mean, Shannon was in love with Dirty John. And that's why she got so angry with him consistently. That's why she overdrank when she was with him. That's why she made choices like driving drunk. Not to say that she has nothing to do with it, but I think Dirty John was incredibly unhealthy for her. So they start having this conversation. And I really didn't love when Shannon was like, listen, I just want to be honest. Because of that, we're probably not going to be best buddies. As if Alexis wanted anything to do with Shannon. Like, it's so funny. Alexis is like, I'm not here to be your best friend. But Alexis is such a bitch because in that moment, that's when she said, I, um, I I don't think it has anything to do with the lawsuit. You're mad at me because I'm dating the guy that you like that left you. Basically, I'm the current and you're the ex. So mean. Obviously, that's the root of the problem. Okay, Andrew says that they only lost their legal fees during this lawsuit. Supposedly, Tamra and Shannon won the case. I didn't know if they did or not, but you know, to me, I know there was a lot of drama. I know that Tamra and Heather McDonald and I believe Shannon too are on the outs. Like Heather, they don't talk to Heather. There was a lot of stuff. We should find out. Someone give me the whole shtick. Someone find the whole story for me. Anyway, they have this really weird conversation, and Alexis like loses her shit. But it does kind of sound like Shannon is coming at Alexis like, I need the money from you. It was your fault that I got sued. And that was just probably not the smartest move on Shannon's part. Shannon doesn't do the smartest things sometimes. I wish Shannon would have gone up to her and just said, listen, this is weird. Okay. We have a history, even though we've never been friends. You're dating my ex. We're friends with the same people. We're on the same show. Like, I really wish Shannon would have just said that. Like, how do we move forward here? Instead of bringing up the lawsuit and all the money she still owed. Because it doesn't make sense why, why she's even going down that path. Because then, of course, what's happening is Alexis is like, I don't understand why you're coming to me. I'm not giving you money. And Alexa shouldn't have to give her money. So it just like turned the whole thing. She goes, I'm not gonna give you money. There's the door, Shannon Bedore. I love that. And Shannon Bedore looks at the camera and like this, she goes, perfect. It was good. Okay. Sorry, the case was dismissed. Thank you so much. Tamara lost 500,000, Shannon lost 300,000, Heather lost 80,000. I don't know what you guys are saying, but it's pretty crazy. It was a really, really good episode. And the previews look amazing for the rest of this season. So I'm very, very excited about that. All right, we've got to get into Love Island. And for those of you that aren't watching, I literally feel for you. Like I am so sad for you. And honestly, I don't even know like what to tell you because if you don't listen to me about, my suggestions about the show, like you're missing out on what potentially could be the show of your life. And last night's Love Island was maybe one of my favorite episodes that I've seen from the beginning. Here's the couple things I want to talk about. We have the conclusion of movie night. And minus like the Aaron and Kaylor drama, nothing happened. It was so crazy. Aaron and Kaylor, they have a big fight. Kaylor is the crying one. Fuck. And by the way, so many of you guys sent me DMs about this. All I could think of was Kaylor crying. But Aaron walks off onto the dock. And this was the moment that was the most shocking. Rob, that's Overall's man, who I find to be a toxic mess, but I actually am secretly in love with, I think. And I really like him and Leah together, and I want them together. Rob goes over to Aaron and has a conversation with him that is the most mature. Rob had many moments in last night's episode that were so mature and so smart. And he said, listen, it's not worth losing her over. You're going to have to just take this one on the chin and completely, constantly admit how sorry you are. And just keep saying it, keep repeating it over and over. Stop fighting back. Just take it and apologize. I was like, Rob, where have you been this whole time? Like, what good advice? And so movie night's over and everyone's so upset and Kaylor's really sad and they end up like everyone sleeps apart. It's like a very depressing night. No one's happy with anyone. And we have this moment where Rob Overalls goes to Daniela. That's his new girl. And they have this conversation where he's like, wow, it kind of concerns me because I don't know how into me you are. It sounds to me like you're really just you were into Aaron the whole time and now you're into me. And she was like, I know, I'm sorry. Oh, but the truth is, listen, I don't mind Daniela at all, but no one is going to be Rob and Leah. Rob and Leah are Ross and Rachel to me. Rob and Leah they're the rom-com. They're the ones that need to end up together. There's no question about it. The next day, Rob and Leah end up having a conversation because Leah feels absolutely awful because in movie night, the producers wanted her to, die a slow death and showed a clip of her going off on about Rob, talking shit to her girlfriends. Still don't understand why it was so bad. She calls him a bitch. She calls him a PUSSY. And I hate that word. And she's feeling so bad about it. So she goes and she sits with him and they have a conversation. And she says, I really, really cared for you. I still do. And it just broke my heart to know that, that happened and that I said that. I'm so sorry. And he was like, well, I'm so sorry also for how everything went down. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. And she was emotional and the music was playing. And I'm watching, like, I literally am watching Leah and Rob, like, I'm watching the fucking Notebook. I don't know why. There's something about those two together that just like heals me when they're together. I don't know. Anyway, they have this moment, they hug, and he's like, I'm really happy for you. And she's like, I'm really happy for you too. And sure enough, they kind of go back and forth. We're trying to decide, is there a chance that they're actually going to be together? But alas, she has a conversation with Miguel, and Miguel is like, I love you, you bad man. It's a little strange, his obsession with calling her a bad man. But he likes a bad man. Lots of other little things happened. For example, Kayla went around crying, patting her eyes, screaming, "Ah!" and making all kinds of weird shrieking sounds. Remember the ocean call? All the whales and all the sea otters, they all came to shore about 46 times in the course of the last 24 hours because of Kayla's ocean call. And sure enough, all Aaron had to do was pick up a damn seashell on the beach, which he probably didn't even get himself. He probably had a producer run out to the local, souvenir shop and get a seashell that says "I love Fiji" on it. Put it on a chain, gave it to her, and she's like, "Aaron, I just can never be mad at you. Oh, I love you." What a waste of our time. Kendall and Nicole are a couple that are very, very confusing. Michelle gets it exactly on the head, nails it on the head. Nicole is goals. She's beautiful. She's sweet. She seems down to earth. She's kind. She's emotional. She's honest. She's all of those things. I want to like Kendall and I can't stand him. I just can't stand Kendall. Last night they had a conversation after movie night because she was a little concerned. Kendall did not look good on movie night. He was just like really throwing everyone under the bus and talking a lot of shit. And I noticed something in his conversation with Nicole and I realized I think this is it. He's a mouth breather. And I'm someone that can't be around loud eaters. And I can tell you he eats loudly. I can also tell you he snores and he breathes through his mouth when he's talking to her. Go back and watch that scene. Make it louder. He's making sounds like a dog. Like, no, you're right. It's a lot. It's a lot. Nicole does I don't know. I think she's gonna get the ick from that rewatching it back. So of course we have the final recoupling ceremony. And in this moment, I was really crossing my fingers that things went a little bit awry, but they let 3 girls off the island. And sure enough, the guys made such sweet speeches. We had Kenny make a speech that was like Oscar worthy for Janae. I think he's terrified of her. Honestly, I think he's terrified. I saw someone's tweet yesterday that said that Janae literally met a guy 2 days before Casa, and while he was gone, she created like a romance novel between the two of them. He came back and he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was married." Like she has created the story. And she's like, "Tell me you love me. Tell me how beautiful I am." I think Kenny is petrified of Janae. And I am too a little bit with, I wouldn't want to be on that in the wrath of that. Um we had, of course, Erin say a kind of nice statement towards Kayla, and she's Erin. Oh. Kendall said something sweet to Nicole, got her, of course. Miguel said something sort of sweet to Leah, was kind of not. Cordell and Serena had a very, very cute moment. And then when it was Rob's turn, obviously Leah was already chosen, but I was convinced. I was like, wouldn't that be amazing if Rob chose Leah? But I knew he wasn't going to. But then it was down to Liv and Daniela. And 3 girls had to go home and there was 4 girls up there. 2 of the girls, we knew they weren't going to go anywhere, okay? But the other 2 were Liv and Daniela. And when Rob was talking, this girl, I chose this girl because of this, and I chose this girl because of this, I thought to myself, oh my God, he's going to choose, what's it called? Liv. But he didn't. He chose Daniela, and I'm not loving that. Everyone got so sad when Liv said goodbye. And actually, I got sad too because Liv really has been a great girl's girl and friend, but she just wasn't finding romance with anyone, any guy. Like, no guy there is feeling Liv, which is wild because she's gorgeous. But I told you guys the other day, I think she releases like an energy that men are a little bit like timid by. Let's hope desperately, let's hope that something changes with this new guy. So, of course, then they bring in a new bombshell. And this is a guy that was on last season. I think his name is Harrison. Very good looking, tall, blonde, long hair, Australian accent. And he walks in right as Liv leaves. And everyone's like, well, I don't understand. Liv was like was going to be perfect for you, but she wouldn't have been. Let's be real. Like she would have hooked up with him the first night and then something would have happened and it wouldn't have worked. But um but anyway, so at the end of the day, we have a new bombshell in the villa, a new guy, and I wonder which girl is going to run to him first. And my gut is telling me Daniela, but I would love if it was Nicole. Like Kendall. Anyway, it was a wild, wild episode. Phenomenal TV. And it will be back tonight. And we'll talk about it over the weekend on Patreon. And then, of course, next week. Um, I am excited for more of that. I love you guys. Thank you for an amazing week here at Daily Dose of Donna. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for loving on the show. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.